Just when you thought US politicians couldn't get any dumber, they do this. And this time they're asking Canada to keep wildfire smoke on our side of the border. I'm Steve Sanford, you're watching Dominion Report. Yes, 2 US congressional representatives recently wrote a letter to Canada's US ambassador requesting to know how our government plans to mitigate wildfires and especially the smoke that makes its way across the border. For your listening enjoyment, allow me to read a few passages from this gem of a letter. And by the way, some of the grammar is pretty high school. This is not the first year Canadian wildfire smoke has been an issue. In 2023, Canada had its worst year for wildfires on record. Last year's fire season is considered to one of the worst, and this year seems to be a continuation. That's a good run-on sentence right there. Here's another. We know a key driver of this issue is a lack of forest management. Is it? Is it really? The letter goes on to say, our constituents have been limited in their ability to go outside and also to spend time going outdoors, recreating, enjoying time with family. And one more quote from the letter for you. We would like to know how your government plans on mitigating wildfire and the smoke that makes its way south. Okay, if you want to read the whole letter, I actually put it into a YouTube community post, and there's a link below. Congressman Tiffany of Wisconsin and Congressman Brad Finstad of Minnesota. I have a message for you. In fact, I have written that message into a letter, and friends, I have that letter, and I will be sending it to the congressman at the same time this video is uploaded. I'm not going to read the whole letter. I'll read a few passages, but if you're interested, I'm going to copy and paste the whole letter into the video description. Dear Congressman, it is with concern that I read your letter, blah, 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 blah. I'm writing, I reply as a citizen of Canada. A bit later in this letter, I include, your inference regarding negligent forest management is simultaneously laughable and offensive. The direct and indisputable cause of consecutive record wildfire seasons is the worldwide environmental degradation caused by human-created climate change. I go on to remind them that wildfires happen in both countries and point out that parts of Los Angeles burnt to the ground just a few months ago. And I also note that Canada sent, Canadian firefighters and Canadian water bombers to help out with those fires. Now, the congressmen seem to need some help with how they should respond to this situation. And so I included some helpful suggestions in my letter. In the short term, consider assembling your state's firefighting teams and equipment and sending them to assist Canadian firefighting efforts. In the long term, support legislation that dramatically cuts carbon pollution and vote against legislation that reduces restrictions on carbon pollution. Then in the letter, I go on to discuss the recently passed One Big Beautiful Bill, and especially how horrendous it is regarding environmental issues. And I explain just some of the terrible ways that it will make climate change worse, thereby increasing wildfires worldwide and causing Brad and Tom's constituents to be further inconvenienced. And then I write this. I note with disappointment that both of you voted yes to the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Accordingly, I find your letter to our ambassador to be disingenuous and insulting. If you were my political representative, I would be embarrassed by you and embarrassed for you. Now, I've disclosed in the letter that I have a YouTube channel and that this video was being created, and I have invited them to reply. And I promised that if they did, their response would be shared with my audience unedited. And if they do, you probably don't want to miss that video. So be sure to subscribe to the channel.